Hello and welcome, FPL managers, and welcome to Ghana Football Fantasy. And of course, we are back for the Zonal Weakness for Game Week 6. After a terrible game week, at least I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about others, but yeah, it's good to be back and hope, we have something interesting to discuss and hope we are going to have another interesting week. And the wrath of FPL is kind of out of the way and, we can progress. But tonight, joining me, of course, Bethany. Bethany, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's great to be back.
Yeah, how was your game week? Because I had a terrible one.
Oh, mine was terrible too. I dropped from about 90k down to 240k. I had Saliba with a clean sheet, Watkins with an assist, and then Haaland, and that was it. The rest of my team did absolutely nothing. And even more irritating, I had Ward-Prowse with a goal and Trippier with a clean sheet and bonus points, both sat on my bench. So definitely a week to forget. What about you?
Well, I don't think I captain Son, so you can understand.
Okay. Yeah.
Besides Saka and beside Haaland, I think the rest were in single digits, so you can very well
binary,
understand.
But definitely ones and zeros.
Binary, yeah. I think binary is the right word, to be honest. Yeah. Ward-Prowse, because we had this discussion on Twitter. I mean, at least we were DMing each other.
I know, we did.
So when I saw Ward-Prowse scoring, I was like, okay, there you go. Zonal did it.
But anyway, after our discussion, I put him into my team and took Bowen out, and then I chickened out and put Bowen in, and I was just like, he's been in. Oh yeah, so I'll listen to the Zonal next time.
Well, perhaps we all should, because I didn't listen either. Yeah, but anyway, let's go straight into the show. And of course, this is the Zonal Weakness for Game Week 6. And before we get into it, please do give us a follow on Twitter, a like on Facebook, but also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that's where we are producing regular contents as much as we can. So do give us a follow. Your support would be very much appreciated. And all the data that you see, all the zonal data, but also all the data that we share on everywhere in all our platforms is all from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. This is the perfect time to get it, because you get a 30% discount to get it. Of course, just click on the link in the description section and you would be able to enjoy and become a member of Fantasy Football Scout. And I can tell you one thing that you can certainly analyze, because there is so much data that you'd probably be tired. But anyway, let's move straight to the game week and let's see how the zonal looks like. So this is how it is, Bethany. What pops out, to be honest?
I think quite a few things pop out, but one of the main things that pop out and is a discussion point already with in the FPL community is Salah. I think people are thinking about wildcarding to fit him in, or trying to move their budget around to get him in. And I think he's proven to us that he, even though his game's changed this year, so he's not necessarily the providing all the goals, but he is creating so many chances. He got two assists at the weekend. Should have had 3, or had 3 for a few moments anyway. And they've got some great fixtures coming up. And obviously he's ranked second for the zonal weakness this week. So I think Salah's definitely worth trying to get in. From a defensive point of view, I think Trippier. Obviously, Sheffield United would be hoping for a clean sheet there anyway from the Newcastle defence. But Trippier also stands out with first for chances and crosses conceded down that left flank. So hopefully he might be able to get an attacking return as well as the clean sheet, which we like. Alvarez is another talking point across the community at the moment, after having scored twice last night in their midweek game as well. He's also second overall for points, only after Haaland across the whole game. So I think we don't have loads of options up front, other than Haaland. I think with the likes of Kane leaving, etc., and lots of other forwards being hit and miss with minutes and things. I think Alvarez means you benefit from Man City, whereas if we're just having Haaland, obviously everyone has him, so nobody's really benefiting. Whereas if you double up and bring in Alvarez, it means you're actually benefiting from Man City winning those games. So I think those are the three that really stand out for me. I think the other ones that are interesting are Saka and Rashford. Obviously, Arsenal and United are all kind of disappointed really at the moment. None of them are looking great as a team or scoring many goals. But I think if you've got them, I wouldn't be bringing them in. But I think if you've got them, the zonal weakness with them being fourth and fifth, both fourth for their zones, I think worth keeping for this another game week. I think that's about it. What about you? Anything else to add?
Yeah, just one. Saka the savior, I would say it, at least from my team point of view. So yeah, I know one of my friend kind of transferred out Saka to get in Son, and we all know what happened. But also, I think the interesting point about Alvarez, the comment that came in from Pep, it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. But the curse for the most transferred assets or players when it comes to FPL continues. So not sure if Alvarez, I don't know.
I think the thing with Alvarez is that he's been consistent, whereas I think lots of the other transferred in assets like Son and Sterling have done something amazing for 1 week only, and then we've all transferred them in, and they haven't kept up with it because it was a one week thing. Whereas Alvarez has been much more consistent. The only thing that worries me, and I know Pep says that he's undroppable, but Pep saying that and somebody else saying that are completely different things. I still worry that Pep says that, and the very next week he's going to drop him. So I think that's the only thing that would worry me with Alvarez. But I think otherwise he's so consistent, and because he's so consistent, he can get points off the bench. So he's less of a concern that way, I think.
Yeah, take that comment of Pep. I think the message that Bethany is trying to give is with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move to the next slide. And what stands out here?
So two people. One, Edouard. I've brought Edouard in this week for Watkins. Again, he's doing. I think he's a great asset. Both he's doing really well. He's ranked 6th across the whole game again. So just kind of hiding under the radar. Palace have some decent fixtures coming up. And he's a great enabler, like as a second or third forward to allow you to get Salah at 5.5 million, I think he is. I think he's going to play all the time. He's doing well, but he also allows you to have free up that budget to be able to bring in Salah. So I really like Edouard as an option. And the other one that I will talk about, but I don't think is really an option, is Neto. I listened to the game, so we couldn't watch it, but I listened to the game at the weekend, and he was involved in everything, especially in the first half. He was chances all over, creating and things. So I like him. And obviously he's ranked first for zonal weakness this week, but I just don't really trust Wolves in general. So it's lovely. And maybe if you really want a 1 week punt against Luton, if you're planning on maybe wildcarding next week, maybe if you've got nothing else to do and no other fires to put out in your team, he could be lovely. But otherwise, I think I'd avoid in general.
Right. I mean, in the previous slide, I didn't really touch upon, but I think one point that I wanted to bring is Højlund. I think he was ranked 3rd, and I think that's an interesting shout because he scored, but apparently the goal was ruled out because the ball had gone out. I mean, it was a bit of a discussion whether the VAR was right, different angles and stuff. But yeah, beside that, what was really clear is that the runs and the space that he was making. So I think with Burnley kind of showing the weakness in the central, I think Højlund still remains. So those of you who are thinking about it, I think it still remains a very good shot. Of course, Manchester United is not performing as per expected, but yeah, at least there is a bit of a combination between Rashford and Højlund, and I think that's something.
I think Rashford would have got the assist if the goal had stood.
Yes. And I think that's the partnership that we should all be carefully examining. Bruno Fernandes, on the other hand, was a bit disappointing, to be honest. But again, Bruno is. I'm still keeping faith on Bruno because of Amrabat. Because unless I don't see Amrabat in the team, I don't think so. We'll be in a better position to then evaluate where actually Bruno Fernandes is going to play. But yeah, let's just continue that. Let's move to the transfers, and of course, it's Alvarez. What we are suggesting. So, what do you think of the Alvarez shout here?
Yeah, I mean, like I've said earlier, I think he's a great shout. He's consistent. He's not a one-trick pony of done amazing in one fixture or one week. I do really rate him. The next few weeks, the rankings are good. They're not amazing. They could be better. If you look across the next 4 weeks, 8-6, 8-6, and 10. It's still, they're good, but they're not as good as they could be. But I still think Man City are a great team. They score plenty of goals, and Alvarez, especially with KDB out, they're looking for that KDB substitute, and Alvarez is providing what they want there. And he's proved himself across both Premier League games, proved himself last night that he is involved. So I think if you've got those players like Watkins, who's been a bit disappointing, or Jackson, if you've got either of those up top and you're looking to move them on, neither of them come up good in the zonal either this week. So I think definitely a week to move on, and Alvarez would be great.
Yeah, talk about Jackson. I think we can go on a rant about that, and probably people will have to stay awake to just listen to us ranting about Jackson. I had from game week 1, so you can understand that.
I've managed to avoid him, thankfully, but I have got Sterling, which hasn't been any better since I brought him in. So,
but I would blame it on Jackson rather, because I think there were a couple of chances that he missed, so which would have actually, Sterling would have got the assist. So Anyway, let's see the team of the week, and here it is. There is a bit of yellow there, and I think you have kind of given a word of caution already. But beside that, what's appealing?
Yeah, again, I think if you've got Rashford and Saka, you definitely stick with them. I'm less keen to be using transfers to bring them in at this rate, just because they've not been as consistent as in general their teams. But great to see them for owners. Definitely stick with them. Like I said before, I think Salah and Trippier are great options, and I would be thinking about using transfers to bring one of those in this week, if you can. And obviously Haaland's there anyway. But the other interesting person that I think on this is Wilson. I think Newcastle's fixtures, both this week against Sheffield and going forward, are looking really great. And interestingly, Isaac was the one that started last night, and Wilson came off the bench. So Isaac's had those minutes then, so it makes more sense that Wilson would start, I think, at the weekend. So I think, and Wilson generally when he starts, especially in those easy games, does pick up the points. So again, a nice differential.
Yeah, so basically that was the thinking behind picking Wilson, because I think in the same zone Isaac will play. But one may always raise like, why are we not putting Isaac but we're putting Wilson? Yeah. There's exactly the reasoning that you gave. So all right. So that's that then, and I think we are kind of down to it. So thank you so much everyone for joining and watching our show, and of course all the support that we are getting. Keep hitting the subscribe button and help us to grow, because every support and every view helps us to grow, and of course we appreciate it. And thank you, Bethany, for joining us again. All the very best for the Game Week 6, and I'll see you in Game Week 8. But until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.